It all started with a photograph, a simple street shot. Sunlight spilling between tall buildings, cars humming along, people walking, laughing, alive, ordinary. Until Claire Bennett noticed something was wrong. There were fewer people in the picture than she remembered. She thought it was just a trick of the light, maybe a glitch in the camera. But when she compared it to an older photo of the same street, her heart froze. Faces she knew were gone. Completely. And the strangest part? No one else seemed to notice. The next morning, Claire went back to that street. Everything looked normal. The crooked bookstore sign, the flickering lampposts. But it felt emptier. Not fewer people around. Fewer in existence. She raised her camera. Click. She looked at the screen. Nothing. An empty street. Her whisper trembled in the silence. This can't be happening. Then, a voice from behind her. You see it too? In a dim cafe, as rain streaked down the window, he introduced himself as Aaron. His eyes were tired, and he clutched a vintage film camera. He'd seen it too. People fading, buildings dissolving, reality itself was thinning. At first I thought my camera was broken, he said, his voice low. But then the city started to disappear. The coffee shop on 5th, gone. The record store, vanished. Even the city records don't show they ever existed. Claire frowned. But I remember them. Aaron nodded grimly. So did I, until my old address vanished from the map. They spread their photos across the table, hers from last week, his from a month ago. The same street, but with fewer and fewer people. And in every shot, a faint black blur, a shadow that seemed to stretch and warp. Claire whispered, "What is that?" Aaron's eyes darkened. "I think that's the vanishing point." They plunged into the city archives, sifting through dusty maps, old newspapers, and forgotten records. It was worse than they thought. Whole neighborhoods were gone. Maps were cut off mid-street. Photographs had blank silhouettes where people should have been. Then Claire found it. A yellowed article from 1978. City Block 47 sealed after unexplained collapse. Area under indefinite study. Aaron leaned closer. They called it the Vanishing Zone. Just then, a cold wind swept through the archive. The lights flickered, and for a terrifying second, one of the massive shelves behind them was just empty. Aaron pulled a small cassette tape from his bag, its label worn and faded. VP047. He pressed play. A distorted voice crackled through the static hum. "If you're hearing this, don't go back. The city is consuming itself. Every shift erases us. We're being rewritten." Then a different voice whispered, so faint it was almost lost in the noise. "Don't look too long." Claire's own voice was a whisper. "Who recorded this?" Aaron looked pale. Someone who looked until they didn't exist anymore. Days passed. Claire became obsessed. Every photo she took showed more of the world missing. Shops closed overnight, their windows turning black. Streets grew silent. Then one morning, Aaron didn't show up for their meeting. She rushed to his apartment and found the door ajar. A coffee cup was still warm on the table, but everything else was coated in a thick layer of dust, as if no one had lived there for years. And on the floor, dozens of photographs. All of her. Claire standing, watching, looking through her lens. The last photo was just an outline of her figure. Scrawled across it in red ink were the words, "If I disappear, follow the line." She followed the cracks in the pavement until she found it. A single chalk line drawn across a brick wall in a dark alley. Through her camera lens, the line pulsed with a faint, unnatural glow. Then came the hum, a low, mechanical tone, the same one from the tape. Suddenly, time froze. People on the street stopped mid-step. Leaves hung motionless in the air. Claire turned slowly. Behind her, the shadow. It rippled like smoke, bending light and sound around it. The buildings began to flicker, dissolving into fragments of memory. The street rippled like water. Reality was fracturing. "What are you?" Claire whispered, her voice shaking. An echoing voice answered, seeming to come from everywhere at once. "I am what remains when memory forgets itself." She lifted her camera. Click. For one blinding instant, the flash lit up the impossible. She saw faces trapped in the light, Aaron, strangers, people long gone, all layered over each other like fading ghosts. Then darkness. Her camera glitched, file corrupted. The shadow's whisper lingered in the air. Every city needs silence. Every memory has an end. The next morning, the entire block was gone. Officials called it a gas explosion. No questions asked. No one seemed to remember it ever being there. A week later, workers found a camera buried in the rubble. Inside was a single, undamaged photo. A woman standing in the center of an empty street, staring directly into the lens. No one recognized her. They labeled the evidence, unidentified subject, Bureau 47. That night, for just a second, billboards across the city glitched, showing her face. Then nothing. Months later, a late-night radio host received an anonymous file. Vanishing Point, Claire. WAV. He played it live. At first, there was only silence. Then, Claire's trembling voice filled the airwaves. If anyone hears this, the city is forgetting itself. Every photo, every recording, rewrites us. Please, if you take a picture, look closely, see who's missing. Her voice cut out. For 6 long seconds, there was dead air. When the broadcast resumed, the host acted as if nothing had happened. But listeners later swore they heard something in that silence. A whisper. Don't look too long. Years passed. An art student stumbled upon an old hard drive labeled Block 47. It contained thousands of corrupted photos. She ran a restoration program on one. An image slowly resolved on her screen, a quiet street corner. But in the reflection of a shop window, she saw it, a faint silhouette, watching. Then her own reflection on the monitor began to fade, pixel by pixel. Before it vanished completely, the file on her screen renamed itself Vanishing Point, the 48 JPG. Some say the block still exists, not on any map, but somewhere between reality and memory. They say if you walk down certain streets at dusk, you can still hear the low hum of a tape echoing on the wind. And if you dare to take a picture, look closely, because for just 1 second, before it all fades, you might see yourself. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you don't miss what's coming next. Stay curious.